Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to ADHD Gamer Presents the Podalorian. This is going to be about Chapter 3, The Sin. John, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. My name is Mike McMahon. I am one of your hosts, as like always, joined by Mr. Jonathan Franklin, and joined by Mr. Adam Hammonds once again. Adam, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Once again, I haven't seen you in about 22 minutes, man. It's been wonderful. So guys, like I said, this week we're going to talk about Chapter 3, The Sin. Remember, you guys, you can get this podcast on all podcast services, just like you get us from, I hope you listen to. If you don't, please go listen to the ADHD Gamer. You can catch us with the ADHD Gamer and the Podalorian on youtube.com/ADHD Gamer Podcast, facebook.com/ADHD Gamer Podcast. And you can also get us on podcast services, but there, make sure you search for the Podalorian and you'll find us there. We've noticed a lot of you guys listening and really enjoying what we're doing here. I've noticed we got a couple 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, which is awesome. So we want to thank y'all for that and keep it going so we can get in that new and net worth area so we get more listeners. So thank you guys. So with that being said, and I've plugged everything, let's go ahead and hop into the show. John, why don't you go ahead and take over here, and we'll start in the beginning of the show, and we'll talk about Chapter 3, The Sin.
All right, guys. Well, we had a lot of good stuff coming in this episode, and I'm really excited to talk about it. Jumping right in, we start out on the ship where he's flying back to go with meet the client. He gets a little notification from Gref Karga, and they're kind of communicating a little bit to the Mandalorian, also known as Din Djarin, according to Pedro Pascal in an interview. And basically, he's just like, "All right, come on in, bring me your bounty." And we have the little baby yodeling climbing out of the bassinet, trying to take this little steel ball off of one of his instruments, and it's cute as shit. He keep trying to grab for it, and what he says, "It's not a toy. It's not a toy."
Which was hilarious. The parenting thing there was hilarious.
Super.
Before you start this, buddy, I would like to say something. To all of you bastards out there that are saying that us calling this Baby Yoda is ignorant or wrong, I just want you to know that John Favreau said that he's perfectly fine with it, and he agrees. So I just wanted you to know that you're wrong. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. This is Baby Yoda.
Star Wars has spoken.
Star Wars has spoken. Thank you. Star Wars has spoken.
Star Wars has spoken, and they have said that it's okay to call it Baby
It's okay.
Yoda.
Fucking Baby Yoda.
So, fuck you.
By the way, this is not a video, John.
Well, I can flick off whoever I want to.
You can, buddy. You can. Good job.
It was toward Mr. Adams Hammonds.
You were flicking off Adams Hammonds?
Adam Hammonds.
No,
Hammonds
you said Adams Hammonds with an S on the Adams.
Oh, well, Adams.
Like you were talking about his ball sack there.
Well,
that's wonderful.
Fuck his Hammonds too.
Ooh, Jesus.
Threaten me with a good time.
I agree, buddy.
Oh, buddy. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Okay. All right. Hop back into this goddamn story.
All right, cool. This, obviously, the whole playing with the toy is kind of a little foreshadowing theme throughout the entire episode. I'm sure you guys noticed it. Right? Yeah. There's a lot to do with this, at least 2 other points in this episode. So it's just kind of a little parenting foreshadowing that I really liked. Finally, we land on the client's planet, and he lands and heads straight for the client. As he's walking down the street, we see more alien species.
Got more Jawas.
Specifically, Jawas, which to me tells me that even more so now that Jawas are more prominent on different planets. So it's definitely doesn't mean just because it's on a sand planet that it's Tatooine, folks. Even though I've seen a lot of people saying that online, it is Tatooine.
That's what I've been saying. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about how it's Tatooine. It looks a lot like Tatooine. Which, I mean, I guess Tatooine's the only... Is Tatooine the only desert planet we've seen?
No. I mean, we've got Jakku.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all kind of the similar desert planets, and I know we kind of talked about it possibly being one, even though we disagreed. I know you specifically pointed that out. It's probably not. It's just another desert planet.
Right.
but we don't know because Jawas are apparently everywhere in the Outer Rim.
Apparently.
So.
Well, I think it's just easier to film in a hot location rather than a cold location.
Well, probably because there's nobody there.
Oh yeah, exactly. You can import a shit ton of sand. It's not that expensive. So
true.
No,
or they can just go out to a freaking desert where it's not known and just go out there and film.
They can just run out to Arizona. I mean, they live in California.
Yeah.
So
true.
It's not that hard to get into the desert.
True.
So.
I did read. I am colorblind, so I didn't notice myself. But apparently, the Jawas on the client planet were wearing a different color cloak than the Jawas on the other planet.
I didn't notice that.
Yes, they did.
Were they? Okay.
So I couldn't tell. And apparently, that was another big theme in this episode as well. Was the colors.
Yeah, I didn't notice that at all. I mean, I noticed all the different colors on the Mandalorians. I guess we'll talk about it a little bit, but I didn't notice the different colors in the Jawa. Now I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Was it like a black and brown different color robe?
Gosh, I want to trying to remember. I think it was more of a grayish robe
because their eyes were still red.
Yeah, their eyes were red. This was more of a grayish robe, and
okay.
Adam points that out. I read an article that kind of points out that it shows that Jawas are all over the universe and that they adapt to different conditions. They're junk traders, interstellar junk traders. That's basically their job.
They're America's scrappers, if you will.
America's scrappers that steal shit.
Right.
So, I guess we could call them the cranker scrappers.
We call them cranker scrappers. We can technically, they're the crackheads technically.
The crackheads.
You know how the crackheads do it. Crackheads just go steal scrap. Especially in Polk County, Florida.
In Polk County, where they go out and just start stripping copper out of AC units.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So we see him go up to the client's hideout, and he's met by some stormtroopers, and one of the stormtroopers puts his hand on the bassinet as he's starting to walk away. And you can tell that the Mando cares just because he's going easy with that.
Mm-hmm.
He says easy with that. Hey,
yeah, definitely.
That's important to me. And basically the stormtrooper blows him off.
Yeah.
So
you be easy.
You be easy. Yeah. Exactly. We see the client doctor in the main room. He says, "Oh yes, the yodeling is very healthy," and we get a better view of the patch, and the patch definitely seems to be matching up with the Kaminoan theory that we had going on before.
Right.
That is definitely the symbol, in my opinion. Well, not definitely. I wouldn't say definitely, but it is definitely looks like the symbol.
What's the actual name of that race again? Is it Camino?
Yeah. The planet's called
Camino. Okay, the planet's called Camino. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. So we see that they exchange this nice amount of Beskar for the yodeling.
That was a shitload of Beskar.
That was a fucking shit ton of Beskar.
Oh my god.
Well, cause I think he gave him just one brick when he took the job, and that was.
Well, no, yeah, he gave him one brick because that did his shoulder plate, and then when he gave him, then he showed him two of them when he pulled them out, and then they put them back in, and then he started doing the question thing. So, go ahead.
Fun fact: the container that the Beskar was in was actually a prop in Empire Strikes Back.
Yep.
It's good to know. It's good for the fun fact.
I forget the name of it. It starts with a C. It's like a canton or something, canteen, or I don't remember what the fuck it is called. But yes, it was used as a Star Wars prop. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
In that they do their little exchange. It was kind of tense as the little yodeling was being walked away by the dock, and the client said something that kind of struck me. He says, "Unfortunately, finding a Mandalorian in these trying times is more difficult than finding this steel." Talking about the best guy. Which I almost took that as a threat. What do you guys kind of seeing
Well,
that.
like right before that, Mando asked what he planned on doing with the child.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was his kind of way of being like, you're not a real Mandalorian, or like, shut up.
Mhm.
The client took offense to that and was kind of threatening.
Yeah, that's. I mean, because you could, because I mean, from what it seems like, the Mandalorians. I mean, the Mandalorians don't really ask questions, or that guild is not supposed to ask questions. It's more along the lines of, get the job done and forget all about it. So yeah, I took that as that the client maybe was wondering. Which, fun fact for everyone, the client is played by Werner Herzog. The client might be the client might have been threatening to where, to me, it was like he was threatening because he felt like you were getting in a boundary that you're not supposed to be getting into. And because, especially because they're not known for that. They're known for just not giving a shit and going, when typically he does care.
Absolutely. This definitely sounds to me like an underhanded threat, just based on exactly that. Hey, you shouldn't be fucking asking questions, and the Mandalorians are limited anyway, so nobody's gonna fucking disappear. So you better shut up. That's how I took it. So I'm glad that you guys agree with that, because I almost was not 100% sure on it. So after that, we move on, and he kind of takes his Beskar and he leaves, and he's heading toward the Mandalorian hideout. We see a lot of new Mandalorians in this. There's a lot of cool fellas. We even see the Boba Fett looking character again. And some of the things I've seen online, a lot of people are saying that this is not going to be Boba Fett.
I don't think it's Boba either. I think they've killed off Boba at this point. I don't want to say that. I don't think they've killed him off. Actually, I'm not going to say that. I think that this may be that. I said a theory last week of I've seen multiple people talk about how somebody found that armor and they've put that armor on. I think that might have been what that is.
Colors are really important to the Mandalorians, and
right?
They mean different things to different people. So it could easily be a copy of that, or like you said, a found armor. Based on what it is, I don't think they would take him on, because he's not really a Mandalorian. Like Jango and Boba were not Mandalorian from Mandalore, any of that. They just kind of killed somebody and took their fucking armor.
Took their armor, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of what were you saying, Adam?
So it could be, someone, knew of Boba Fett and liked his color scheme and just, took over his color scheme or whatever. Paying homage to somebody who was a quote-unquote good bounty hunter.
Yeah, it could be. I agree with that.
I read something where the green and the red means something about honoring your parents, which could make sense for the whole they're foundlings. They've been found after the Purge of Mandalore and all this other stuff. So it's easy that color scheme could have represented itself.
Right.
Well, talk about that, and then think about Boba Fett, taking over the armor after his dad got killed. Mm-hmm. That's his color scheme was basically honoring his father. So it could have just been a very basic color scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, like, this is the first, like, large group of Mandalorians we've seen live action.
Yes.
So as far as I can tell, yeah, because the only Mandalorians, I guess we talked about Jango and Boba not actually being Mandalorians, but I guess they're really the only two that we really seen. Movie wise, with in that what's that called, in the armor at least, and everybody's armor doesn't look the same, but kind of does. It kind of has that style in this episode when we seen these.
Yeah, absolutely. They all kind of work around the same style. So I guess you could say it's even the first time we've seen a Mandalorian period, since Boba Fett and Jango don't count.
True.
So live action. So that's pretty cool. As we're walking through there, they do a close up of the Mythosaur skull symbol that we've come to know and love over the years. Mm-hmm. Which is, I can't remember if it was in the other episodes or not, but
yeah, it was in the first episode, I believe, when he walked in the armor.
Okay.
That was kind of like the transition to that scene was the Mythosaur skull.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that whole scene. It just kind of gives that underworld look to it. You know, it's deep dark hideout. They're hiding. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I like that whole scene, especially because they're kind of an underground thing, right? I mean, It kind of seems like they're an underground type thing, which leads into another thing you're about to say, but kind of leads into they're like an underground. I don't want to say. Do I want to say guild? I guess I can say guild. I guess I can say I guess I can say guild. I don't know if I want to say guild. Clan. Yeah, we'll say clan. Kind of like an underground clan, I would say, and they don't like to be seen much, is what it kind of seems like. So, go ahead, John.
They even make a great statement in there. It says, well, I'll just wait and talk about it in a minute.
Okay.
So he goes to meet the armorer, and
oh, John froze. Oh God. Here, we'll talk until he comes back at him. Oh God, Jonathan froze.
But he's talking about when he takes the Beskar to the armor, and he's back.
Hey, okay,
cool. You froze, man. You froze.
Sorry, man. So he brings the Beskar. Obviously, it's a shit ton.
A lot.
The armorer basically says, "Well, we can make you a full cuirass out of this," which is a major piece of armor.
I love how she kind of like
anything like that.
Like grabs it and pulls it down, and it's just like slowly starts like portioning it out.
I also love how she did that. Like, she hadn't seen that much Beskar in a long time. Like, she was almost like weirded out by seeing that much. Like, it's because as soon as he opened it, and she's just like she gives you audio listeners, of course, you can't see this face I'm making, but it's that awkward face of, wow, that's a shitload, and kind of just like she starts pulling it out one by one, and so it's kind of weird that, but I mean, obviously this Beskar is it's obviously a rare thing in the world right now.
Well, the best part is, the armor's wearing a mask, so you can't see her make that face, but you can.
Right. That's what I'm saying. She's wearing a mask, but you can tell, like, just by the body language that she's making that. That's what I was trying to say.
She's obviously a very important person in the whole clan. She's the only person I've ever seen with a Mandalorian that was gold. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I didn't notice that, but now that you say it, now I'm thinking about it, that's actually, you're right. Like, that makes sense. Maybe she's like some kind of higher up, or maybe she might be a leader or some sort.
Or a royalty of some kind.
Royalty, yeah.
I was reading that same article you were, John, and about the color schemes, and I want to say gold meant vengeance.
Yes.
Mandalorians, so,
and that's why they revere her.
Right. So she probably did something and, earned the respect of the guild.
Okay.
Are we in agreement that that's a woman?
I'm going to say it's a woman. Yes, I'm going to go ahead.
Is that possibly the person on the poster, the female character?
No.
Oh, not the what's her name? What are they calling her? We talked about it earlier because I seen a pop of her today at Books a Million. Hold on one second. I'll tell you the name.
Well, just by the statement she makes later about the helmet, I don't think she'd ever willingly have her helmet off.
Yeah. I don't think so either. That is the whole premise of their clan. They say it over and over again, don't take off your helmet, don't take off your armor.
Yeah, right.
So I doubt that's going to happen. And as we see in there, that he gets surrounded by all these different Mandalorians that come afterwards after he's brought this Beskar. And one's a big heavy guy, is played by an MMA fighter, but it's actually the voice of Jon Favreau. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's that's pretty cool Easter egg.
He definitely played, and this is an important person. I had to research this online, but the name of that character is Paz Vizsla. I think I'm saying that correct.
It sounds very Russian.
Yeah, it does. But that is a very famous name in the Star Wars canon. It's even played in Clone Wars, because this plays to the fact, and I'm going to go ahead and read this because I wrote it down.
Okay.
Tar Vizsla created the Darksaber, and was also the first Jedi Mandalorian.
By the way, that woman we were talking about earlier, her name's Cara Dune. We haven't seen her yet.
Cara Dune. Okay, cool. Also, the pre-Vizsla was the leader of the Death Watch, which makes me believe that this is part of they're like a subsect of the Death Watch.
Mm-hmm.
and which is some hardcore traditional Mandalorians. And on Mandalore, they kind of do the uprising, and it's even later on. Darth Maul basically comes into the Death Watch and controls them for a while. We see that in that time period of the Solo movie, where that should have been at the point where he is in control of Death Watch.
Right.
So there may be some interplay there. I don't know. We know Star Wars likes to just put all these things and connect them together. And I think that might have something to do with it. Especially we go into, they never remove their helmets and all this other stuff. It's definitely giving more evidence toward this is a Death Watch derivative.
It's the whole not removing of the helmets thing. I'm not really sure I still fully understand, besides the fact of they don't want anybody to know who they are. I mean, I just don't know if I fully still understand the fact of why they can't remove their helmets. I mean, I kind of understood why, when the armorer said something about, has anyone removed your helmet yet, or have you removed your helmet? And he says no, and no, nobody's removed it. It kind of seems like they'd be in danger if they did somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of confused on it. I really don't understand that too much.
I kind of took it as the same way, like certain women in certain religions can't remove their
right, like Muslims can't, are not allowed to remove their garb at a certain time or whatever. Right.
So yeah. I think, especially since he's in the second episode, he said weapons are part of his religion.
Right. So, okay, so it could be a religious type thing. I could see that. Okay, right. That makes sense. That actually makes a lot more sense now that you put the two and two together. Okay.
I think a lot of it comes down to traditions and what they've done, and they're a warrior race, and so especially the Death Watch was very important to them to maintain that warrior race, because in the Clone Wars and stuff like that, the Mandalorians were trying to move toward being more peaceful, and the Death Watch opposed that. So it would make sense if it's religious to them that they're warriors, so you never remove your helmet, you never take off your armor, because damn it, you never know when you're going to get into a fight.
Right. And then
that's kind of where I'm taking with that.
Nobody sees you.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That exactly.
That makes
sense.
You're
always protected.
So what they say later on, their whole motto, this is the way, it's the way it's always been since they're so traditional. You don't do it. So you just don't do it.
Right.
For sure.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you got this race of people who, I believe they talked about only one can go up at a time. So, one goes up at a time. So if Mando goes up, basically is what we're saying, everybody else, the rest of the clan has to stay underground. And so you got all these people, they're trying to hide. I don't want to say trying to hide, because, what's weird about them, if you say they're trying to hide, they're such a badass race. Like, you see what Mando can do. Mando's a beast when it comes to certain things. I mean, we see him in the fight with the Commandos. You see him in all kinds of different fights. He's a fucking beast, and obviously the end of the episode is amazing. So they show that, they show their beast. Why stay down there? Once again, it might be they're just trying to hide and stay away from that kind of this is the way thing. Maybe the way I took that was this is the way that we were taught, and we grew up. So this is what we do, because this is how we're taught. It's kind of like us, I'm pretty sure your grandma and your grandpa probably taught you manners. So that's what you learned. So this, once again, this is the way is I have to have manners. So maybe that's the way they were raised, and maybe so now I'm actually answering my own question now. So there we go.
That's exactly how I took it.
Okay, cool. Exactly. So I'm not the only one. Okay, all right, cool.
No.
That's how I took it.
And then the heavy later on states, they used to control by numbers, or I might be getting that wrong, but he said something about having more numbers, more Mandalorians. So that might just be more of a safety thing, because they've already been through the Great Purge and they've already had their numbers reduced. So it might just be more safety at that point.
True. They do mention in here, calls the Great Purge a reason why we hide like rats, like sand rats.
Right. I seen
they're
that.
still being pursued.
Okay.
that kind of does, and this is what I took from the whole thing, because they mention a bunch of different points, is that the Empire has fallen, but they're still out there. There's still
Right.
groups of the Empire out there, warlords and so forth, that are that can still find them, and so they don't necessarily need to hide as bad as they did before, because they were purged by the Empire or whatever. But they still have that out there to where they can get attacked.
I mean, they're obviously the Empire's obviously still out there, because the Empire came looking for what we're calling Baby Yoda. The Empire came looking for Baby Yoda, so obviously they're still out there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
okay.
I think this is after the Battle of Jakku, the great battle we see in the new series, the new trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So, we don't know. They're still out there, but their forces are severely diminished. We know that Jakku was a big turning point for the rebellion and all that stuff. So that's, I mean, you're right. They're still out there, and obviously it's reformed, and they get to the First Order, and that they're not ready yet. So we're still kind of in that limbo. Then we get to a fight, and we get to see vibroblades, which is really freaking cool in my opinion. You know, they're I wouldn't say it's the first live action vibroblade, because they've presented them before, I think, in the new trilogy. But it is cool to see them slice at each other and get hit, and a very prominent thing in it.
Yeah, I definitely thought seeing the vibroblades was cool, especially when the heavy and Mando were fighting. You seen two vibroblades at the same time, basically in kill position, ready to roll, and you see him sitting there, you know, shaking and vibrating. I thought that was so cool, man.
I do, and you get to see a really like an up close slash across the armor, and you're like, ooh, you watch it kind of resonate across the armor.
God, that's so
I thought
awesome.
that was super cool.
I love the way they're doing stuff like that, because it just, you know, because you can get told, hey man, this is a vibroblade. Okay, what does that vibroblade do? And then you get to see what it does, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's a badass weapon, obviously.
For sure, yeah.
Well,
really
it took
cool.
down what were they calling that? A mudhorn? Took down a mudhorn?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure if we talked about it. I'm sorry if you did, but in the armor, when they're talking about when she's talking to this might be further, so I'm sorry if I brought this up. But when he talks to armor about Beskar, she says something about Actually, you know what? You're about to talk about this. I apologize, buddy. Go ahead, man. I apologize. I was not looking at the notes.
When the Heavy and the Mando get to fight, the first thing the Heavy does is reach for Mando's helmet to rip it off.
Yep.
Because Heavy was calling him
Basically,
dishonorable
a coward, basically.
Because he was working with the Empire.
Right. Yeah. Working with the same Empire that pretty much destroyed their race, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, they were all very pissed off, and that was obviously why they were huddled up behind him.
Mm-hmm.
But they accused him of not being honorable. Period. End story.
Yeah,
and I think that if they had successfully ripped off his helmet in that fashion, that there would be some dire consequences for that.
Oh yeah, somebody would have died. I fully think there'd be death that came to that.
For sure. And the armor does say, hey, we're going to make Mudhorn your signet because you killed that Mudhorn. And he's an honorable person. He's got a code, so he says, no, I can't. I had an enemy help me, referring to the Yodeling as his enemy.
Right. That's actually what I was going to talk about. So
yeah. The Yodeling, and he says the Yodeling helped him. He didn't know he was his enemy. All that jazz, and I thought that was interesting. And some people are saying that I posted on Facebook or something like that about, there's a lack of character development. GameSpot, I think, said it was lack of character development. Don't quote me on that, but
I don't think there's.
Obviously, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I think the character development is wonderful in this show. I mean, to take somebody like myself I've watched every movie, but I don't know a massive amount about lore, and so I can tell you who certain people are and know stuff, but I don't know certain things about lore. And to take that and for me to learn something about that character in this show, and for me to tell, I can tell you everything about Mando right now. Well, everything that we've learned, obviously, because the development is there, and the development of the client was there, and the development of what was the dude's name who was given the bounty? Grief Karga.
Grief Karga. Mm-hmm.
They gave a little. I mean, that development was very small, but it was. You could tell who that was. You know,
there's a lot of characters in here. You can't just develop everything over time, or that quickly. It's only been 2 episodes, so like, calm down, people.
A lot of Mando's character development has been nonverbal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of the different way he acts, and from the first scene, he goes in very straight-laced, down to business, to what happens later in the episode. Like, that doesn't happen in words. It's just you see the resolve in his head.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtle character development in this. Especially this episode, I think, has the most, character development of them all.
I can see that, yeah.
As far as developing the parenting aspect of the Mandalorian, and we see that throughout this series, that he's just becoming more and more attached to that yodeling.
Yep.
And obviously it comes to a head in this episode. So, last thing about this scene was we got the whistling birds, the little seeking mini missiles.
Those were so cool. God, those were so cool.
They are super cool.
I'm so glad they actually showed how they worked.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad they did it in this episode, and he should have some more in reserve, so maybe we'll see a little more later.
And she did say that's what the rest of the Beskar was making, right? She made those out of Beskar, correct?
Yeah, she made those out of the Beskar, and then they were giving the rest to the foundlings.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As is done.
As is done.
As is the way.
As is
the way. So she starts making the Cuirass, and he starts having flashbacks again of the Great Purge. We definitely see the battle droids more clearly, which they look cool as shit.
They do.
Definitely a fucking upgrade. At the end, we see he's found by a super battle droid after the parents hide him. So they're going to keep giving us more. Is he
found by the battle droid?
At the end, it just shows... it doesn't necessarily show him being found by the battle droid, but it shows the angle from that little box that he's hidden in, and then a battle droid opens it up and he's there. So...
Well, I read a theory, and it was that, because this was around the time that some of the Jedi were still around.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mando was found by, whatever his name is, Obi-Wan. And he was the one who took him to the planet so he could be raised as a Mandalorian.
I mean, anything's possible at this point.
Yeah.
But very specifically, at the end of that flashback, it does show them opening up those doors and there being a super battle droid there. Whether he's in there at the time or not, we don't know. But I'm sure there are going to be a shit ton more flashbacks every time he goes with this armor or whatever, so we can learn more. One specific thing that I was particularly interested in, because everybody was wearing red robes. So I did a little research because I knew there was some significance to it. Red robes are the traditional garb of Life Day. So it may be another Life Day reference.
Wonderful.
And everybody's wearing it. Like, you see the people running around and they've got the red garb, the red cloaks on. So I think it's just another Life Day thing. Like, this purge happened on Life Day. So I don't know. I didn't write the show. So anyway, we move on to the guild.
Mm-hmm.
Karga goes and gives a new job to Din the Mandalorian on the ocean dunes of Karnak. So we see this puck, he puts it out there, and a Mon Calamari is presented. What we know about this person is a nobleman's son. obviously, some of us are first thing we think of is Admiral Akbar's son,
Right.
Aftab, I think his name is Aftab. So that would be interesting, but we have no idea. Period. End of story. In fact, somebody actually translated online to see what the name is, and it just says wanted. So all that traditional Star Wars lingo, just wanted.
Wanted.
No need.
Wanted.
Wanted.
Just wanted.
Wanted.
Dead or alive. I had to do it. It was called for.
Thank you, buddy. So Karg claims that the only thing that's left of the Empire are mercenaries and so that plays a little bit more to what we talked about earlier. And Mando's kind of upset about the whole yodeling thing.
Right.
He talks to him about it and basically says, "Well, if you're upset about it, go talk to the Republic." And he just kind of scoffs at him because the Republic's not really set up at that point. They're still really new. They don't have any fucking control over really anything. And whether that's the reason or he's an outlaw and he doesn't want to fucking talk to the new government, who knows? But,
they're basically the Republic's basically a nobody at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. The Republic is nobody. They're just now starting to take control, and there's nothing really important to them at this point. So whether it's that or he's just an outlaw that wants to stay away from him, who knows? But we do see an important part where Greff pulls out these Beskar plates and then stuffs them back into his chest pocket.
Mm-hmm. He pulls out.
I got paid.
What's he pull out? Two? Does he pull out two?
Yeah, he pulls out two.
Two plates?
He pulls out 2 plates of Beskar with the Imperial symbol on it.
I would really like to know like how much each one of those like Beskar plates is worth. Because it seems like that what's there is units, credits are there. Credits are the thing. I mean, but didn't Mando say in one of the episodes that credits aren't worth anything anymore, or was that the
credits?
Imperial credits? Okay.
Yeah, Imperial credits aren't really worth anything, obviously, because it collapsed.
Yeah, right.
So I'm sure that is online somewhere. I'm sure that there is some Star Wars nerd out there who has calculated the price of what Beskar is.
You know what? You do that, and I'll look up.
Okay, sounds good. That is kind of the end of the guild scene, though. That was just real quick, Obviously, Mando's kind of regretting his decision about what happened with the yodeling, and so he's trying to find out more about what happened to him, what they're going to be doing yodeling.
Now, do you think he's feeling upset about it because now he's had 2 different flashbacks of him as a child being abandoned, and now he's dealing with an abandoned child himself?
Well, I mean, he's having the flashbacks. Why? Why is he having flashbacks? Because he feels a connection to this little Yoda, baby Yoda? Or is the flashbacks fueling his feelings for the Yoda? Who knows? I think more or less he's having these thoughts because he's feeling a connection with the baby Yoda and he's starting to get that paternal instinct going on. So that may be causing the flashbacks. I don't know. What do you think, buddy?
I mean, he had the first flashback before he even found the baby Yoda, so I don't know if him having that flashback and just remembering that, he was an abandoned kid and all that, and then dealing with an abandoned kid may have just he saw the connection. And then plus baby Yoda is just super cute.
Yeah.
So I did not find a price on anything, but what I did find is a fun fact. I'm not sure if you guys knew. The only thing that can resist a lightsaber is Mandalorian iron. So Beskar. I'm sure you guys probably know. I didn't really know that. So Beskar can resist a lightsaber, but I did not find a price on anything. But I would like to. I'm sure somebody's probably posted that. I would like to research that more, just to get a grips of like, okay, if you guys are getting this for this job, how much is that really worth? Because I want to see like what Mando got paid for that. I mean, even though it probably wasn't worth the life of that child. I mean, I would like to see. I still would like to see how much he got, like money wise for that. Especially because all that did, I mean, it probably was what he needed, but it basically just made him more armor, to use for the job. Basically, he really didn't get paid. He just got new armor out of it.
Well, it's expensive as fuck.
Right. I'm sure.
I can try to do a little research this week, see if I can find how much that shit's worth.
I'll do a little bit too, because
interesting.
I really would like to know. I mean, just so I can see, like, okay, like Grief pulling out those 2 bars. Okay, so how much did Grief get paid for that? Like how much did he get paid for those 2 bars?
I'm pretty sure that he said that he was rich now too with just those 2 bars.
Yeah, he did. That's exactly what he said. He said, "I'm rich now," or he said, "I'm rich now too," or something. I forgot what he said. So. Yeah, I mean,
2 bars means you're fucking rich. Then how much is that shit worth?
Yeah, it's worth some money. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we start moving on, and Mando starts heading toward his ship, and he kind of reaches for the little ball, and I guess he gets a hair up his ass. He's like, "That's the moment. I'm gonna go save Baby Yoda."
He did the parenting moment of fuck. God damn it, kid. God damn it, kid.
Damn it. Fuck.
Son of a bitch.
Exactly. So he heads over to the hideout, and he finds the dumpster baby bassinet, the little bassinet that's been falling around forever, and Yoda's cloak is all in this dumpster. So he gets on top of a building, and he's using, I don't know what it is, but he's basically eavesdropping.
Yeah, it's his. He was using his rifle, and his rifle almost had like I don't want to say a sonar type equip, but it was almost like a kind of like a spy device of being able to hear.
Yeah,
which was really cool to see, actually.
Mm-hmm. They have some and it feeds into this conversation that is obviously the doctor and the client going back and forth, and what basically they said. Extract the necessary material and be done. So something's inside of this Yoda, or the DNA or whatever they're trying to collect is inside Yoda, and then I guess they want to kill it. You also say
that's why the client was okay if he was dead. That's why he just wanted proof of the kill, so he could just extract whatever he needed.
And later, the doctor says, he's like, "No, I'm keeping him alive." So the doctor, it may be the heavy influence behind that to keep the client from killing him. What else is said is they were explicitly order us to bring it back alive. I can no longer guarantee your safety, is what the client says.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So it's garbled. There's definitely like a name there. We definitely know that there is a person in the background pulling the strings. I turned on subtitles. I put in headphones. I tried. I could not catch anything from that. Yeah. I listened to it 2 or 3 times, just trying to really narrow down each sentence, and it was kind of a pain in the ass, but that's the best I could get. So I think maybe it's his DNA. I mean, if we're going with our Kaminoan clone theory, it's probably just the DNA. Right. But also, there's something inside him that's causing the tracking.
Because they need. I mean, haven't they said multiple times that they need the DNA? I mean, well, I don't want to say multiple times because they haven't said it multiple times, but the DNA is needed for the clones, right? Because it's what it is. You have to have DNA to have a clone. So
yeah. And at that point, you're making a clone of a clone, but you don't have the source. So
right.
And I think that was why they needed Django to live on the planet so they could make the clone troopers.
Right.
And have his fresh DNA.
For sure.
It's been a while since I've seen episode 2, but I think that's why he lived there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they used his DNA regularly and did stuff for training and all that other garbage. So yeah, I think that's on the path of where we're going. I think it's definitely they want the DNA. They want to find out more whether this is a clone or a baby because of a one night stand from Yoda or whatever. So then we get to this badass fucking battle scene, and I'm sure you guys loved it just as much as I did.
Oh my god, this battle scene was awesome.
Now, when he was going around doing this, I swear I heard like shinks, like if like he was wearing spurs, like in old westerns how they'd walk around and you hear like shink, like the whole time. I don't know if that was in my head or if that was actually in the show, but the whole time.
I don't think it was in your head because I heard it too. Like I heard like just random little small little tink 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 as people are walking.
It could just be his armor or his boots,
or
it just added to it.
Or the director or Jon Favreau or somebody has a Western fetish, because if you also remember in episode 1, the very first scene is him walking into a bar like it's a Western. So maybe
that's
somebody,
exactly what I was about to say.
Maybe somebody just has a Western fetish and they're trying to make this like a Western, which is cool. I think it's an awesome idea. I love that.
Well, Star Wars is the original trilogy was described as a Western in space, and that's exactly what George Lucas was going for. And this is just bringing it back to the heart of things. I shared something on our Facebook page. I'm sure you probably saw it with the swords going on the round table, and it says original trilogy, prequel, and new trilogy, and they all
the fans coming together.
Baby Yoda. Yeah, it's the first time that Star Wars fans have ever agreed on anything.
Yeah, that's fun. It's really funny, actually.
It is really funny because Star Wars fans can't agree on shit.
Not a goddamn thing.
Even me. I can't even agree with my fucking self about what's right. So we start out and he rips the eye scanner out of the client's wall to cause a distraction. He puts a detonation device on a wall, blows that bitch up, and the little troopers, they come to investigate. Well, what the fuck does he do? Sneaks up right behind him and fucking knocks their ass out, kills them. It was super cool. I love that. There's so many good kills. He was pulling like a stealthy type deal going on for a little bit. Shoots a bunch of different guards. One of my favorite ones was he uses his grappling device to yank him in and stab that guy in the back.
Yes, I love that.
Holy shit. That was fucking cool.
I liked them using the grappling device because it didn't seem like they were going to use it much, and them using it in that way, it almost felt like almost like a video game type thing. It's of pulling the person to you and then killing at the same time.
I'm sure that was a Boba Fett mechanic somewhere along the line.
Somewhere, yeah. That seems like a Boba type thing.
Yeah, no shit. Eventually, he comes to the doctor's lab room, and what we see in there, very specifically, is an interrogation droid from. Is that what that trilogy?
Is that what that droid was? Okay, I was the whole time I was looking at that. I was like, oh, what is this droid doing? Like, because it didn't seem like it was doing anything. I was wondering what that was. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, I was expecting more of a medical droid, but maybe it's an interrogation droid that's being used as a medical droid. I don't know. But that
was there to keep an eye on the doctor.
That's what.
You think so?
Now that
that makes sense.
Protect his safety.
Now that you said something about interrogation droid, that makes a little bit more sense now. Yeah.
That's a good possibility, Adam. I just automatically assumed that it was there for the Yoda, but maybe it is for the doctor. Interesting. The doctor in there specifically says he doesn't want to hurt the Yodeling, and if it wasn't for him, the Yoda would already be dead.
Right.
Or he says he would already be dead.
So. He would already be dead because they are confirming. They're confirming that he is a male.
They are confirming a gender.
They're confirming. Oh, thank you for saying that so bad.
Confirmed gender.
They are confirming the gender. I can't wait for all the gender people in the world. Do not assume his gender.
We should have a gender reveal party for Yoda. Just saying. Pop a little blue balloon.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you the meme that I shared on the ADHD Gamer page of Mando holding Baby Yoda up like he's Simba.
Oh yeah.
Was wonderful. I love that.
That was super cool.
Whichever one of y'all shared the one about grown ass man reaching for the chalky milk.
That'd be me. That'd be Michael. Did you see the one I just posted a little bit ago while we were taking a break? I posted one of the meme of Baby Yoda, and then it had all this had like smoke coming out of Baby Yoda's mouth, and it said, "Me at 5 years old with all my friends out in the cold weather pretending I'm smoking."
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
That's awesome. No, I gotta look at that. So we progress on a little bit more, and like some stacked boxes, and he's kind of pulling like an MGS. That's what it reminds me of, Metal Gear Solid. Like you fighting or sneaking around the box rooms and rooms stacked with boxes, and you just stabbing and shooting people in stealth. Obviously, it was a little bit faster than that, but we see he uses a little shocker again, and his flamethrower finally worked for the first time and actually killed somebody.
Yes, it did,
which was about time.
Yeah, I think it was wonderful. I like the burnt residue they showed on the armor of the stormtrooper, because it's just like Star Wars to do some shit like that and not show anything on stormtrooper armor. So
ruin that guy's armor.
Fuck that guy's armor.
All the plastics melted. This is fucking great. We come to the final part of the client's hideout fight, where he's just surrounded by stormtroopers. He sets Baby Yoda down. He's like, hey, don't do anything. I'm down. Whatever. No big deal. Everybody stay calm. And then he just lets those fucking whistling birds out.
That
and
was
kills
awesome.
All four.
That was so awesome.
Was super cool.
The homing, it was like homing missiles, and God, that was so cool. You finally get to see how those whistling birds work, especially if you're confused about them, and you finally get to see how they work, and it's an awesome scene to see that.
Well, it's funny because Jon Favreau created this, and he was also the director for Iron Man, and Iron Man 1. He had kind of the whistling bird thing going on, and then at the very end, one of the last scenes, there's another like Iron Man kind of motif going on. So
I mean, it's Favreau. It's what he does. He's a writer, producer, whatever on Iron Man. So you might see a lot more Iron Man stuff in this shit than you think. And I wouldn't just say it's Iron Man. It's just his type of, it's his type of directing, or not directing because he didn't direct any of these, but producing or writing or whatever. And I love it, dude. I love every single bit of it. So, so do I. I
do a great job.
I love him because I love him because he's a nerd like all the rest of us. And see, I'm gonna go off on a quick little thing, but I would love to see Kevin Smith do more stuff in the comic world, like see Kevin Smith direct like comic movies, because Kevin Smith's a comic fan like Jon Favreau is a Star Wars fan. So it'd be awesome to see people I love when I see other nerds doing other nerdy shit. Like, don't get me wrong, Rian Johnson was probably a fucking nerd, and he probably liked Star Wars. But the way Last Jedi was done, I don't know. It's something. Now, don't get me wrong. Once again, I will defend Last Jedi. I am a defender of Last Jedi because I loved it. But to certain people, it didn't hit points for them. I mean, Adam, we talked about this last night. It didn't hit for certain people. I liked Last Jedi. I'm a defender of it. There was just something about it to where a lot of old Star Wars fans didn't like it for a reason, and it was because of Ryan. So, I mean, to see, I basically just want to see more nerds do direct nerdy shit, and as you don't see too much of it anymore,
I don't think Kevin Smith will ever direct anything like that. Just
he won't.
He's an indie dude. He likes to have full control.
And he is actually in a lot of comic stuff, like in Arrow and Flash and all that shows. He does actually do some stuff in the shows because he is so smart with comics. If it doesn't say anything, his daughter's fucking name is Harley Quinn. He's the dude is really good. I would love to see him in that. But going back on Star Wars, go ahead, finish what you were saying. I love Favreau, and I just want to see him do. I would love. I'm so glad he wrote the show. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying about that.
He's doing this show justice 100%.
Yes.
Like, this hits you in the new Star Wars feels, and it hits you in the old trilogy feels because of that old Western take. I posted a status before y'all even watched this show of the $7.99 a month or $6.99 a month, whatever it is. It's worth this show alone because it is. I love the show. The show's so good. Me and my wife watch it every Friday. This Friday was our first episode together, and it was like, okay, yeah, I'll wait for you to watch it now because it was so good. It's just, I love this show. I've had every time. Well, I say every time we've done this show. We've only done 2.
Yeah.
But every time I've watched it twice to, get a playthrough, to watch it, get a feel of it, enjoy it, and then I take little notes while I'm doing it of important shit. And then I rewatch it and I do stops and pauses to write down and make sure I got every little detail and checking out different things. And she sits there and watches it with me, and she loves it just as much. Sam loves
That's awesome.
the show. So fun for the whole family, guys. Fun for the whole family. So we move on to
the final battle.
The final battle. He escapes, and we have this really cool scene in the guild where all the bounty hunters' trackers start lighting up. I'm like,
which, hold on, I want to say something about the client's hideout. The only thing that I found really weird about the client was not there. So Werner Herzog was not there. Right. So where was he at? That was because I was expecting Mando to go in there and kill him. That's the thing. I was really expecting Mando to go in there and kill him. So maybe he returned back to the ship or wherever he went, but it's just kind of weird that he went there. I don't remember them ever saying that he went somewhere.
Well, we heard his voice when he was spying, but
talking to the doctor, right?
Obviously, we didn't see anything either, so he may have been in a different part in his little cabinet room or whatever, or he escaped. Who knows? Who knows? Honestly,
who knows?
I'm sure we'll find out later.
I'm sure.
He was on the toilet.
He was on the shitter.
He was taking a shit.
He was on the shitter.
Well, Game of Thrones when he kills his dad.
He was on the shitter.
He was on the shitter. But that was a really cool scene. I love that part.
When it all lights up, when you see all those trackers light up, like, oh shit.
Yeah, and I think it's going to play a big role in my opinion. There's something in that Yoda that is being tracked. Something's inside him, whether it's a tracker or whether it's the material that they want to extract, has some sort of marker on it. Who fucking knows? But I think this is going to be his hunt across the galaxy. Is these trackers going to play a big part? So Greff Karga and all the bounty hunters surround him, and he makes a quote. He says, "Can I trust you?" Well, you have to, because I'm your only hope.
Right.
Obviously, that's a play to A New Hope where Leia says, "You're my only hope."
Yeah.
I love all the parallels because this, "You're my only hope" was very kind of cocky and in your face.
Yeah.
For Leia's was you are my only hope, out of desperation.
Yeah.
Like that. And there was something else. There was another reference to kind of the originals, and I don't remember what it was, but it was the same. It was a big kind of tone shift.
Yeah. There was a lot of good. We're going to be finding out the Easter eggs to all these episodes for years.
Oh, definitely, yes,
years to come. There's so many fucking layers to this show that we're never going to figure it out for this one episode. But I'm excited to find them out for the rest of time.
Agreed.
So then this big battle ensues. It's a really cool fucking shoot 'em up fight. Literally just a shootout at the OK Corral. There are people fucking everywhere. He even hops onto this speeder and starts kind of shooting from behind the speeder. And that just takes Old Western as well. Every part of that is just like an Old Western showdown. I'm sure I could pull old John Wayne movies and find a particular thing where he hops on a carriage or something and starts blasting the fuck away. And it's all the same. He eventually gets the droid. He says, "Fucking drive," basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically.
And he wouldn't do it. And he pointed the gun at the droid. He's like, okay.
That droid shook his head. He's like, "No, I ain't doing that shit." And then he pointed the gun. He's like, "Oh, okay, my bad.
Never mind.
My bad.
Never mind." Karga ends up shooting the droid and taking it out of commission, and then
more senseless droid murder.
Senseless droid
and
murder.
It also cracked me up because that bitch had a horrible shot, but he could hit that droid pretty good.
Yeah.
Movie knowledge.
We see more disintegrations, which was fucking cool.
Yes.
That Greedo looking character, a Rhodian, I think. fucking thing. But
I don't know.
He gets disintegrated. We see like 2 or 3 disintegrations in this one, and it's a fucking cool mechanic. I love the way they fucking destroy people. There's just like little burnt pieces just flying off in the air. We get toward the end of the fight there almost. He runs out of flamethrower juice that he's kind of using for crowd control, trying to give us a little moment of, oh no, it's his last hurrah. He's gonna fucking die.
Well, I like how he looked at the Baby Yoda, kind of like, you got anything for me?
Yeah, I was literally expecting him to say like some shit like, "Hey man, you gonna help?" Like, because like you said, I mean, just the way you looked at him, it's like, "Hey bro, like you did something with that mud horn. You gonna do anything with this? You gonna do anything with this shit?"
Well, the cavalry came in, and that was the coolest fucking part. There was even a part where it reminded me of the second, where Jango Fett kind of jumps onto a tower shooting 2 fucking blasters. Mm-hmm. There is that part that happens on top of a building. But these guys, they just come in and they just start fucking shit up. They're on jetpacks, for crying out loud. Like, that was cool. The heavy guy that John Favreau does his voice, has that belt-fed, big-ass fucking minigun, and he just tearing people fucking up.
That minigun was banging, dude. Like I said, I love how they started. It was all you seen was a rocket in the sky, and then the rocket hits somebody, and bam, here comes everybody. It's just like a goddamn war about to start, and I loved once again we come to the fact of Western. You get into a Western town, people fighting in between. Tombstone, even a tombstone, if you will. When you see Tombstone and they're sitting in that building and they're getting surrounded, he's in that tiny ass little carriage, or whatever you want to call it, I guess a trailer, if you will. And there's people just surrounding his ass. Dude, I love the scene. The scene was so amazing.
Did you see any other cool weapons in there? Do you remember anything?
No.
Like the belt fed. I saw the dual handguns and shit.
The rockets. Flamethrower. I didn't really see anything else besides the disintegration and then the minigun.
Mm-hmm. That shit was out of control, and it gave him enough time to get out and start heading toward his ship. And guess who's there? Fucking Karga. He's in his little fucking stowaway.
Before that, the Heavy comes up to Mando, and he says something. I forget what he says to him, but then they kind of share that this is the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he said, or the Heavy said, get the fuck out of here, or something like that. Like he said, like I think Mando said, thanks for the help, and the Heavy said, go ahead and get out of here, and then Mando says, you guys are gonna have to move the colony. And then the Heavy says, this is the way, and Mando says, this is the way, kind of sharing a, yes, we have to move, but I also understand you are my brother and I have to help you kind of thing, which was cool. It showed the brotherhood of what the Mandalorians are about.
And like, these little things are just speaking volumes. Like body language, like there may not be a lot of words expressed, but body language, how things are being said, just tells so much. And if you think that there's no character development, you can kiss my ass, because they're quite so.
There's plenty of character development in this right now.
Hell yeah.
The Heavy got a bunch of character development in this episode. This is his first episode.
Exactly. He and that's a good character. I hope we get to see more of that character.
Yeah.
As Mando's taking his ship off, or I'm sorry, let me step back. Karga, they have that little showdown. He puts he shoots the little button on there that creates a distraction, and he shoots Karga. Well, if you've been paying attention, you know that's where he kept his Beskar.
Yep.
Right there in the chest. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, he's gonna live. He got shot in the Beskar. And literally right after that, he pulls it out with a little blaster mark on his little plate. So Karga lives.
I missed that. Like when he shot him, I thought he was dead. Now I was like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, so I said the same thing.
And then he was laying there. I was like, fuck, he got the Beskar there, doesn't he? And he's like, God dang it.
Yeah, I said the same thing when as soon as they shot him. I was like, man, fuck Karga. And then all of a sudden it kind of the camera went back to him. I was like, oh fuck, he had that best car there. God damn it.
I think he's a good character. I think he'll be back. The
adversary. He's a great character.
He's a great character. He'll be back I think he'll be back in the show. Like I think he'll be back in a big area, in a big way in the show. I believe. Like
he's probably going to go hunt after him himself.
I think he's going to do that, but I also think he's going to go to the Empire. I have a thing where I think he's going to go find the client, or he's going to go to the Empire, and he's going to try, and they're either one or two things going. They're either going to send him with a team to go find him, or two, they're just going to kill him right there, and then they're going to go find him.
I'd be interested to see if they pull any of the First Order stuff in there and maybe explain the origins of the First Order through the Mandalorian.
Yeah, I would like that. I would like that as well. I mean, I would like to see if they, I mean, I don't know if this makes any sense. The one thing I think that Star Wars has done bad in the last two movies, I guess, or maybe it's just in The Last Jedi, was we didn't really get any Emperor Snoke backstory. So I think that was a really bad idea, because I don't know if Snoke would make sense here, but if he did come in somehow, I think it'd be cool, because they haven't done a lot of that backstory of Emperor Snoke, and to see something in there would be cool.
Well, for them to just like kill him off like they did,
it felt like an insult.
Yeah, I mean, he showed up in Last Jedi, right? I'm right? He showed up in Last Jedi and died in that. No, did he show up in the one before?
No, he showed up
in the one before. He showed up in the Force
Awakens.
Okay, the Force Awakens. Okay, so he showed up in the Force Awakens and he dies in Last Jedi. You know, that's kind of crazy. An emperor is usually a big character. You know, that's kind of weird.
You didn't get to see him do any kind of fighting. Like he moved Rey around with the Force. Yeah, that was it.
Well, you have this overarching, ominous, fucking mega character that's pulling the strings in the background. They did a big thing to make sure that he is viewed as this overall giant creature, and then just kill him so quickly. What the fuck?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Hopefully they're going to bring more, but that part definitely kind of pissed me off a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I think I didn't trust Star Wars.
I didn't mean to take that on a tangent, but that was just like one of my main problems with Last Jedi was just the killing of Snoke and not really giving much backstory on him, because I mean, if you're an emperor, you're calling shots, as you say. I mean, I feel like that needs some backstory. Look at Palpatine. We got so much character development, so much stuff on Palpatine, you know, and then Palpatine took over, died, blah, blah, what it was. And, well, supposedly. And, you know, I feel like Snoke should have got a better shot at that. You know, I would like to know more about him. So
we might get more. I'm sure it will be explained eventually.
Yeah, hopefully.
So, hopefully,
if it's not explained or talked about in Rise of Skywalker, then why the hell even make that character? You know?
Yeah. I 100% agree with you there.
So
you know what I want to see that would upset me, but I'd love to see because if you look at the parallel between the two characters, between the Armorer and Captain Phasma,
right?
Because Captain Phasma got pretty pissed off when Finn took his helmet, and she never took her helmet off.
Yeah.
So she had the different color armor, was the first female, stormtrooper, first female Mandalorian that we've seen.
Right.
Granted, we've only seen like 5 Mandalorians, but
I'm just guessing that's a female at this point. It may not be. It may be a dude. You know, it's just kind of one of the things where we're guessing it's a female.
Are you saying that it's a possibility this armor is Captain Phasma?
I would love to see the armor turn out to be Captain Phasma.
I mean, the armor is tall.
Yeah, that's a cool theory. Seriously, because that sounds.
You know what? Now I want to.
Adam just came out with a really cool.
He did. He came out with a really good theory, actually.
Yeah.
I want to actually find out, because if it is, I want to find out if
Find out how tall the armor is.
Yeah, because Gwendolyn Christie is freaking huge, dude.
Yeah, she's 6'6".
Yeah, she's taller than me, bro. I'm 6'4". So I want to see if I wonder how tall the armorer actually is, because I mean, the armorer is tall from what we can tell.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about that until you just said that. I mean,
And a lot of the times we see her, she's not standing by anybody, or she's kneeling somewhere. You know what I mean?
Is there any backstory on Phasma? I know there's a book and a comic about her.
I have
not
not read
anything about it. Yeah,
I
I am lacking on that.
I wonder if there's anything about Phasma and how Phasma was such a cool character too. Another character I think they killed off way too early.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think they gave her enough.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
They didn't really kill her off, though.
No, they didn't kill her off, but you know what I mean.
In the sense of, yeah.
It's the same goddamn thing, Adam.
Well, the lady who plays the armor is 5'7".
Okay, so yeah.
At the same point, you can make that change, no problem, without a lot of people noticing.
Some growth hormone.
Well, that, and it's just, switching from one armor to another armor.
Okay, so hold on. I'm on Wikipedia right now, which is Star Wars fandom.
Yep.
Captain Phasma is 2.0 meters.
Mm-hmm.
So how much is that in feet? I'm dumb ass when it comes to metrics.
Oh, don't tell me.
Well, Adam, why don't you do the math there, buddy? Since you're so good at math.
6 foot 6 inches.
That's definitely that's not 6 foot 6 inches, is it? Hold on. How tall in feet is?
How tall is 2 meters in feet?
There you go.
I'm asking a lesson. 6.56 feet.
Okay, so he didn't. Don't believe that Adam did that in his head, because he didn't. So okay.
Fuck you, Adam.
Listen, for my job, I have to know the transition between metric and imperial.
Fuck metric. We're Americans, man. We use fucking. You say imperial? Is that what that's called?
I actually don't say metric. If you've ever been forced to use it in any sort of science class or whatever, it is actually a way better system than
It
we
is.
use in
It
America.
is. I mean,
significantly, and it makes more sense.
You know what's sad? You know the only way I've learned like meters to feet. The only way I've learned meters to feet, kind of, sort of, is by watching Shark Week, because they always take sharks and they say a shark is like 3 meters long. I'm like, oh, okay, that means that shark is like 6 foot long, or whatever it is, because a meter's or 9 foot. 9 foot. I'm sorry, because a meter is 3 foot. So I was like, okay,
a meter stick is 3 feet. So
yeah,
that's
right.
How
It's right in there.
All
Okay.
right. Well, are we pretty? We went off on a tangent once again.
We got
Oh, God.
the last bit here. So he's flying off in his ship, and the Mandalorian, one of the Mandalorians, gets up in it with his jetpack and gives him a good old salute. And the Mandalorian says, "I gotta get one of those."
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, that was cool.
That is cool, and I'd love to see him.
Get him jetpack. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, get him a cool jetpack. Watch him really fucking go balls out on somebody with it. That'd be super cool to see. And finally, it kind of ends off where he goes full parent mode. He picks up that little ball that the cute little yodeling's reaching for, and just drops it in his hand.
Gives it to him, lets him play with it.
Yeah,
And I mean, I was laughing at that last scene, because you see Yoda, baby Yoda reaching for it, and then he can't get to it, so Mando unscrews it, drops it in his hand, and you see the hand disappear. I thought that was so cool.
And you know that bitch is going right in his mouth too. Like,
Oh yeah, you know it.
just typical child.
Just balls all in the mouth.
I think that's what he did in the beginning. In the very beginning,
He did.
tried to put it in his mouth.
He went to go taste it or whatever.
Yeah.
That was
You gotta
fun.
lick it secretly.
Oh god. So many
But then
jokes.
they jump into hyperspace, and then that's the end of the episode.
So real quick, because
parts unknown.
we're about an hour and 15 in right now. So let's do it real quick. Let's do about a 2-minute summary. What do you think? Where do you think the show's going to go from here? Where do you think it's going in chapter 4?
Man, I hope that.
Do we know? Hold on one second. Here, keep going. I'll tell you what the chapter is going to be called.
I hope that it goes to this place, Karnak, or finds something special. I hope the next episode really brings in some science or something where we find out more about the origins of this Yoda. And I'm pretty sure that's where we're going. I'm sure there's going to be more battles. with the Bounty Hunters Guild, all that jazz.
Well, the synopsis for the next couple episodes are already out.
Are they?
Yes.
Oh,
So,
I don't.
Spin me a web.
Spin you.
So, the episode 4, it says the Mandalorian teams up with an ex-soldier to protect a village from raiders. That's all it says.
Okay.
So you don't really know who it could be. That chick.
Right.
It could just be somebody random. He could be going back to the.
Okay. So I think this is where that chick's gonna come in.
Yeah.
Cara Dune.
I would assume so.
I think this is where she's gonna come in. I think that might be the ex-soldier because is it raining outside for you too?
Yes.
I'm making sure I was not hearing things. Because
I've been thinking that the whole episode.
the armor that's on her, like when you see it, she doesn't have a helmet or anything, and she's just it just says something about ex-soldier, and it looks like soldier type armor. So that might be what that is.
I would think so, based on what it says, but it wouldn't be another episode 2 or chapter 2 Bloodhorn episode. But that's possible. It might kind of take that lead of just kind of a little bit of filler. But based on what we know, I would assume that this is going to be the new female characters.
I just figured out that Cara Dune is being played by. Do you know who Gina Carano is?
No, I don't.
She's a ex MMA fighter.
Really?
She's fucking awesome. I love her.
That's the second MMA fighter that I know of.
Yeah, she's gonna be. She was in a bunch of movies. She was a badass when she fought. But yeah, she's playing Laura Dune or Cara Dune.
The photo that goes with chapter 4 is of that chick. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right,
perfect.
Well,
anything beyond that?
They got chapter 5. They have the chapter 5 and chapter 6 synopsis, I believe, right, Adam?
Yeah.
Well, let's hear it, buddy.
Yeah, go ahead and read those.
We got time to hear it.
Episode
we got
5, the Mandalorian helps a rookie bounty hunter who is in over his head.
Okay.
So, kind of passing on some knowledge there. And then on episode 6, or chapter 6, it says the Mandalorian joins a crew of mercenaries on a dangerous mission. So, he's still doing some stuff around the galaxy.
Yeah,
it may take him a while to get...
Oh god, Jonathan, you froze again. You froze again, bud. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. What's
but
up?
At this point, he's going off all these dangerous missions. Where is he doing with Baby Yoda?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean Yoda's probably following. I'm sure Baby Yoda. I'm sure it's probably following along. And no, because he don't have his little thing anymore. So it was thrown away in the garbage. He was throwing his little crib thing was thrown away in the garbage. So he won't be following him. But I'm sure he'll be walking around. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes, guys. It's very exciting.
He's gonna have to keep Yoda either close to him at all times, or
because he ain't gonna stay on the
ship or something.
That bastard ain't gonna stay on that ship. He's gonna find a way to get out.
No, exactly. If you've ever had a fucking child, you know.
Yeah, you can't lock the child up. I think I can see him possibly trying to lock the child up, but then Yoda escaping and being like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing, bro? You're supposed to be locked up."
It's like Star Wars meets Rugrats.
Yeah.
They use a little screwdriver to get out of everything.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I think that's a good place for us to end this week's show of the Podalorian. So, guys, next week make sure you join us for chapter 4, which we don't have an episode title for. I actually checked; we don't have an episode title for yet. So, next week we'll be back for episode 4, and so this has been another wonderful episode of ADHD Gamer Presents the Podalorian. Guys, make sure you check us out on all podcast services. Check us out on Facebook.com/ADHDGamerPodcast and YouTube.com/ADHDGamerPodcast. Make sure to check us out everywhere. Subscribe, like, leave 5-star ratings, that kind of thing. Make sure you tell us, guys, what you want to see. Adam, Jonathan, thank you for joining me for this wonderful Saturday night, this wonderful wet Saturday night outside. I can hear it raining. So I'm glad that our recording here didn't stop from this storm we're having outside. Everybody, it's been wonderful. Guys, we want to thank you, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ADHD Gamers /Podalorians.
Yeah, / whatever the hell you are. Thank you for listening, is all I have to say to you.
Yeah. Thank you for all our new viewers.
Yes, appreciate all you guys. Thank you. Tell your friends. Have a good day.
Tell your friends.
Bye.